The New York Islanders win their first home game of the year in overtime and then a shootout and then an extended shootout. But no matter what, a win is a win. But I can tell you, my emotions in this game are off the charts. So I'm not sure about my podcast here tonight because it was like a roller coaster. I'm thinking this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad. But I think the biggest glaring point for me tonight was, and it has been for a long time with the New York Islanders. I've often talked about how our tops, all of our top six players have the potential to score 30 goals. But with saying that, the one thing that this team doesn't have is a lot of finishers. Well, we don't really have any finishers. I guess Horvat would be the closest to a finisher that we have, but we keep lacking that one star. It just seems like that's all this team is missing, that one superstar guy to take over the team. But yeah, it was a crazy kind of game. It was one of those ones where I kept thinking, man, this is a bad game, but I'm going, "Oh, they're not really playing bad. They just can't finish. They just cannot score goals." And it's very frustrating, very frustrating. So uh, but anyway, it was a huge win. We had to win this game, even if it is in a shootout. Montreal got a point. I don't really care. I don't expect Montreal to be there at the end of the year. I mean, they're a much improved team. They're going to be a good team in a year or two from now. Montreal is stacked with a lot of young talents. And yeah, be wary of this team in a couple of years, but their time's just not now, which is one of the reasons why we had to come away with 2 points. However, we entered this game in seventh place in the Metro Division. We're 500. 500 won't get you into the playoffs. I said 500 was okay because we didn't really fall behind, even though we're in seventh place. At least at 500, you'll always be in the hunt all season long in the NHL. And if you put together a streak, you're in the playoffs. So it is important for us to stick around. However, going 1-1-3 tonight would have been disastrous, especially I believe we had seven power plays tonight. We scored on the first one, but this reminded me a lot of the Utah game where we had all the power plays and once again it went to overtime. This time we were on the right side of the coin, but yeah, it's a dangerous game to be playing. You know, we went to overtime last year 28 times, and to me, that's a sign that we are good enough to play with anyone, but we're not good enough to really beat teams. You know what I mean? It's just like 20, 28 times tied in a game. There's something not right there. And we're well on our way after what are we now? 2-1-1. So, and we've already played three overtime games. Like, holy cow, like we're on a bigger pace than 28 overtime games this year. But overall, I thought it was a pretty good game for the Islanders. Frustrating, more frustration is what I dealt with in this game of just lack of finish with us being able to put the puck in the net. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm happy, but it was not a must win, but we really needed this one. All right, so I guess I'll get into talking about the guys in the game and whatnot. First off, we'll talk about Max Siplikov. Siplikov was he had a better game than his last game, but there's still more to be had out of him. However, he's just the magic piece for that second line right now with his, his board work and the way he handles the puck and his passing is good. He was a -1 tonight, but overall, I thought Max was pretty solid tonight. But I'm still expecting more out of Max than what I saw tonight. But overall. Good game. Picked up another assist. So good job, Max. You got that on. No, it wasn't on the power play. It was yeah, an even strength one. So yeah, well done there, Max. And Simon Holstrom. Wow, he came up big for us tonight in the shootout. That was one beauty of a move, and he actually had a pretty good game too. He defensively he was very strong. He was breaking up a lot of plays that Montreal was trying to start, and his long, lanky reach and everything just seemed to it just he gets in the way, and he's such a bitch to play against if you're the opposition. And he shut him down tonight, but boy, he looked like that guy that I was talking about when it comes to finishing. Like, wow, the touch on that was awesome. I keep hearing all the time about how great Holstrom is in practice and that, and he's a third liner. I don't get too excited about him, but then you see him pull a move like this, and you go, "Oh, this must be what he does in practice," because he looked very calm, cool, and collected on that shootout goal. So, good job by Holstrom. Yeah, well, if we don't have it, we don't get the extra point for the win. So that was the beauty of a goal for sure. Uh, Duclair, this is scary. This is scary. The Duke went down, and that is not good for us. To me, it could have been ankle, knee, but to me, it looked like groin. And if it's groin, that's a bad thing. That's an injury that can linger all season long, and we don't want that with Duclair, that's for sure. Hopefully, he strained it and they just are being precautious, but it didn't look good the way they were taking him off the ice there. He was hobbling pretty good. Nobody really touched him, and that's why I think it's more of a chance of being a groin injury than an ankle or a knee sprain. He twisted kind of weird, but a lot of times when you stretch out your legs like that, the way he did, and losing balance, there's a good chance it could be the groin. I would rather a sprained knee than a groin. I've had them both, and I know the sprained knee is easier to recover from than a groin injury. They can linger, and they also play tricks on your head too, groin injuries, because you're always scared when you come back to really open it up, and you start imagining gremlins in your head that, oh, did I tweak it there? Is it okay? So hopefully it's not a groin injury. Hopefully it's just something minor that needed to take him out of the game tonight. So yeah, hopefully that is it. Matt Barzell, he was all over the ice again tonight. Maybe hanging on to the puck a little too much tonight for Matty, I thought. Um, he he had an excellent game. He was all over the ice and made some beautiful passing plays. And there was a lot of good things that Matt did. I just thought that he might have hung on to the puck just a little bit longer. Oh, that's also something else I want to add on Max Siplikov's game as well is I also noticed he dumped the puck in twice tonight. So Patrick Roy is definitely getting through to Max on that as well. But Barzy, it was mostly perimeter play. I kind of thought tonight with Barzell, instead of getting stuff done, he did walk away with an assist, and he had 27 minutes of ice time. A lot of that was for that shift that we had. And let's talk about that 4 minute shift. That was an outstanding shift by the Islanders, but we had to walk out of that with a goal. And I think the biggest thing that was disappointing to me, uh, usually a lot of times when you get them hemmed like that and you make a line change, a lot of times it'll screw things up and the puck gets thrown down the ice. But we made a perfect line change because everything was set up perfectly for us. We were Sorry, I had a bit of a connection problem with my microphone there. So anyway, I was talking about the 4 minute shift that we had in the Habs end there. The thing that I was most disappointed about that was we did get our first line out, and the first line put on a ton of pressure. However, they were also on the ice for 2 minutes and they needed to do a change themselves. And I think we really could have ended up scoring a goal. We do another change, but you could see by the time they had been out there about a minute and 20, they were starting to get tired. And then by the 2 minute mark, they were starting to look really tired. And then finally, eventually, the puck got out of the end. So I was kind of disappointed that none of the first liners went and changed off. They decided to stay out for 2.5 minutes into a shift, which was a 4 minute shift. I really think we could have scored there with a little bit of little selfless kind of play from the first line and had made the change. I mean, the other guys made the change for them. So it's a team game, guys. Got to keep it together like that. Bo Horvat, nice game, nice goal. It's a beauty. I fear, I said on the message board tonight, I've watched a lot of Bo Horvat because being on Vancouver Island, I see a lot of Canucks games and whatnot. And I would say that the goal he scored tonight was how he scored about 67% of his goals in Vancouver. However, the thing that I didn't like on it, it just seems like we just keep going to the well on that play. If you want to have a power play that's good, you have to have more than be just a one trick pony. And that's kind of what we were doing. That we were doing the whole thing to set that up for Bo. You got to have, I didn't really see many down low plays tonight. And good Lord, we had enough opportunities on the power play. Everything was perimeter, 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 perimeter. And they were shooting. I'll give them that. That's one of my biggest pet peeves is normally they don't shoot, but this season they're definitely taking their shots on the power play. So I'm not upset about that, but it's just a little bit too perimeter for me. And they tried to focusing on that one timer to Horvat in the high slot. So yes, definitely use that play, but we gotta mix it up. And I think if we mix it up, that opens up the play to Horvat a whole lot more than it was open because you could see Montreal was doing it. The second they see Bo go to where he was going, they were either expanding the box or decompressing the box depending on where Bo was going. Their whole power play concentrated on Bo or penalty kill concentrated on Bo, and it worked. The power play should have won us the hockey games tonight, but it didn't. Uh, I was pretty happy. Bo had one fantastic back check there tonight. Uh, it was a 2-on-1, and before the red line, he had already made it into a 2-on-2. But he was a full body length and a half behind the Habs going on up the ice, and he absolutely broke up that play. There was also another one by I'll talk with Ryan Pulock when he did his. He did the very same thing as Horvat did, turned a 2-on-1 into a 2-on-2 with just a fantastic back check, like using some serious speed to get back there. Yeah, I got a little problem talking here tonight. All right, Goche made his first appearance of the year for the Isles. I thought it was pretty average, but what do you expect out of a fourth liner? He you could tell the fourth line was definitely faster tonight with Wallstrom not being there and Goche on the line, but I didn't really see anything great, and it's nothing to really worry too much about. I mean, we're talking about Wallstrom and Goche here. I mean, tonight Goche got 7 minutes and 42 seconds of ice time. So for one thing, you can't do a lot in 7 minutes and 42 seconds of ice time. So hopefully you don't do any bad in that time, but it's hard to do any good as well in that short period amount of time. And let's not forget, this was his first actual game of the season. So not only did he have to deal with low ice time, he has to deal with rust at the same time. So I'm not going to be too judgmental on Gauthier, but I didn't think it made a whole difference on the fourth line tonight. But the fourth line met their goal. They were even for the night. So well done by the fourth line on that part for sure. Kyle Palmieri, man, this guy is playing like a beast, and I love it. I just love it. Like he is just such a power forward, and he's undersized for a power forward, but he plays like a power forward, and he super impressed with Palms. I remember it was 2 years ago. Palms had two bad injuries. He had one, he came back from it and was fantastic. And this is when he was starting to turn it around because basically for the first 2.5 years of his contract, he didn't do a whole lot there. And he started turning around, then he got injured again. And he was out for a long stint. He came back for about the last 15, 16 games of the season and was outstanding for that last 15, 16 games of the season. And has just played that way ever since. So ever since he came back from his last injury, Palms has been playing fantastic hockey for the Islanders, and I just love the way he goes to the net. It's just fantastic. I mean, he puts that shoulder down, and he's not going to be denied. And I love that he shoots. He's playing fantastic. He's one of the reasons our second line is just so damn good. So great job, Palms. Uh, and also getting a goal never hurts. That's for sure. Way to go, Palms. Good job. Anders Lee, nobody can tell me. I don't care. You know what? You could come to me with radar gun results on Anders Lee from last year and radar gun results from Anders Lee this year, and they may be the exact same miles per hour, but I don't believe it. I'm telling you, I won't believe the guns because my eyes tell me that Anders Lee is like 2 to 3 miles an hour faster this year. Holy cow, the difference in this guy is unreal. And I tell you, to me, even in his gear, he looks slimmer. And he hasn't lost any strength along the board. So really liking what I'm seeing out of Anders. I seriously, it makes no sense at all because Anders is not a good skater and he's getting older, so he should be getting slower, a la Tavares. But he's not. To me, at least, it seems like he's getting faster, which just makes no sense at all, which shouldn't even be possible physics wise. But to me, I just think he's dropped like 10 pounds or something and worked on his skating because he's super fast this year. Beautiful goal by Anders going to the net there. Captain leading the way, putting us up late in the game once again. We should have won regulation, but really good game by Anders, and it shows in his ice time. I guess 19 minutes tonight, and that's for a third liner. That's pretty good, mind you. There was OT involved, but mind you, Anders doesn't get on the ice in OT. So Anders got his good share of ice time tonight, and he played well and deserved it. Brock didn't have his best game. He was okay. Just it just seemed like Brock couldn't make anything happen tonight. Fumbling puck or maybe a pass into some guy's knee pads or something along those lines. Yeah, it happens. Games like that. Brock was -1 tonight. But like I said, overall, not a bad game. Not I definitely wouldn't put it in a good category for Brock. And I think that Brock may be one of the guys that Butch was talking about at the end of the night there. So when he was talking about players who could have played better tonight, and I do believe Brock was one of them. I don't think he was bad, but I think he could have been a lot better. Kyle McLean, good fourth line work again, continues to show off his speed, doing all the things he needs to do on the fourth line, and once again met his goal of being zero tonight on the plus minus. So, good job by McLean and Pajot. I told you I noticed something a little different with Pajot this year with his healthiness. He just seems that little half a step faster. And what a great play he made on that goal to Anders. Great job by Pager there. Giving us 17 minutes of work plus one. Third line was outstanding tonight. Good job by the third line. Well done. Casey Zizekas, throw him in with McLean, and Goche is having a good night for the fourth line. Casey gets about a minute more than McLean, who gets a minute more than Goche. So that's just about how you want to distribute the ice time. So that's pretty good. All right, let's talk about the defenseman. I thought Mike Riley stepped up a little bit more tonight than he had been in the past. He's starting to look a little bit more like last year's version. He did end up a -1 tonight, but I kind of liked this game. I know him and Scott were playing really good defense out there. My concern is that Mike is trying to turn around his defensive game and is putting so much concentration into his defensive game that he's kind of forgetting his offensive side, which in the last two games I've kind of see it spurred out just a little bit. But we need last year's Mike Riley getting into the play like he did last year. So hopefully that'll happen for Mike. But it's once again hard. He's right at 15-14 for ice time tonight, which he's basically been hitting almost right on the nose 15 minutes every night. So, good job by him, but you don't want to be -1. Adam Pelech had another good, strong defensive game tonight and made some nice offensive plays as well. Not a whole lot of pressure was put on Pelech and Polak tonight as they Pelech only had 17:40 in ice time, and Pollock had 19 minutes. So they didn't get as much ice time as they normally get. And it was given to Noah Dobson 29 minutes and 24 seconds of ice time tonight. And he deserved it. In those first two games, man, Noah looked, first two or three, I can't remember now, but he looked bad. That's two games in a row now. He's looked really good. So, Plus two assists on the night. That's the Noah we like, and some good solid defense as well. But going back to Pollock, I did think Pollock had a very good defensive game, as did Pellick. But the -1 is no bueno for us, guys. We need to do that. But you also have to remember that Pollock and Pellick are playing against the top lines all the time. So Scotty Mayfield, like I said, with Riley, they seem to be a really good defensive pairing together. Like I said, though, they were -1, but overall, I was pretty pleased with both Mayfield and Riley's games tonight. Alexander Romanov, what an excellent game he had tonight. I got to tell you, the Islanders' gap control. Uh, between Lane and Patty's system, like I know that Lane tried to do gap control, but for some reasons the players didn't do it. I don't think the system melded with how Lane wanted it to work. But our gap control this year is outstanding. Our defensemen are hitting guys even before the red line. They're just not giving them a chance to come up the ice. And is got a lot to do with Romanov. Like he is stepping up at every chance he gets. And the beauty of it is he's not trying to take everybody's head off. He's just breaking up the play and turning the play back around the other way. So good job. Let's talk about Varley. This is a bit of a tough one because Varley, uh, it was a strange one. Varley made a lot of good saves out there tonight. He really did. And but that last one, that was harsh. That was harsh. That one should have never went in, and Varley be the first to admit it. It's early season. Varley picks up his first win, so it doesn't matter. He was good in the shootout. He was good in the game. He made some really good saves when he had to make some good saves. The other two goals that went in on him, he didn't have a chance on. But that third one was a little harsh. But Bartley is our backup goaltender, and we just won with our backup goaltender in the net, which is why it's outstanding that we have, in my opinion, the best goaltending tandem in the NHL. Especially if Ilya's back to being Ilya, we definitely have the best goaltending tandem in the league. So it's great to pick up a win from our backup goaltender. That is always good news. So good news for the Islanders, winning their first game at home tonight. It was a crucial win, in my opinion, entering into the game in seventh in the Metro, and all the other teams they're still winning that. So we're not going to make a huge jump up in the standings because we've fallen a little bit down behind, but some of that's due to games in hand, and some of that's due to just not winning games we should have won in overtime. So uh, you got that. But overall, we're not behind the eight ball. It was super important to get out and get into a winning record, especially after going 0-1-1. So it's nice to see that we pulled her back. It's disappointing that we can't put teams away. The finishing is worrisome for me. I really think this is the best Islander team we've had in decades. I really do. But the lack of finish is worrisome. I know we're gonna win as the Islanders by spreading the scoring out on this team. I'm not expecting one guy to score 50 goals. I'm not expecting one guy to score 40 goals. So I'm expecting six guys to score 30 or 20s and 30s and whatnot and hope for the best. And I know we don't have great finishers, and the problem is when we don't get that balance scoring on certain nights, we just look like we're a terrible team. But that's just not the case. That's just one game where our guys didn't put any pucks in the net as a team. So as a team, we need to score. They don't have to be fancy goals, but we need to start finishing. So anyway, I'm super excited about the win tonight. I thought I was going to be uber disappointed coming on to this podcast tonight because I wasn't expecting the best. By the way, we matched last year's win totals in the shootout of one. That's as many as we had last year. So we've already matched that. So needless to say, I wasn't too positive going into the OT and the shootout, but pleasantly surprised with the outcome. So anyway, Islanders win. It's time to get a little bit excited. So all you guys and girls out there, you take care and peace out. What?